Welcome back, everyone. This is Jay Endo with Conscious Ground Sound. I'd like to formally wish everyone a happy new year. This past year has just flown by without a whole lot of time for reflection on my part. One of the things I found myself doing in the new year was going through the list of new releases in 2015 just to see what I had missed. So for my radio show, I compiled a list of the top 25 albums of the year according to my own personal opinion because I felt like it needed to be done. There were a lot of lists that were put out that all have a very similar end result and top album, and also a very similar top 10. While I felt a lot of the albums were worthy of accolade, there was a certain void of artists that went completely unmentioned that had released some of the best albums of the year. So I feel like it's my personal responsibility to bring to light some of the great happenings sonically that may have been overlooked. These top 25 albums of 2015 are mainly within the genre of indie or indie rock, pop, and also in the world music genre. I do apologize, there's no hip hop. There are a good deal of soul releases I looked at for 2015 that were really excellent. It's also relevant for me to note that these top 25 releases are full-length albums. I do have some honorable mentions that will take place at the end because there were some really excellent EPs that came out this year as well that would, without a doubt, be on my top 25 list had they been full-length releases. Okay, let's get started. We're gonna count down from number 25 all the way to number 1. The number 25 album of 2015 is Edge of the Sun by Calexico. Edge of the Sun features some very interesting southwestern cumbia typical tracks from Calexico, but also an excellent vocal performance from whom I'm assuming is Joey Burns. One of the standout tracks on the album is Falling from the Sky, which almost sounds like an early Wilco power pop type of song. It has a very interesting Mellotron Moog sounding line in it, and it features Ben Birdwell from Band of Horses. Also noteworthy on the album is Cumbia de Donde, which is more typical of Calexico style. Number 24 on my list is Ben Folds with the album So There. The standout track on this album is Capable of Anything. This track has some orchestral clarinet flourishes that you would expect to hear on a Sufjan Stevens album, but also has Ben Folds' inimitable, warm-hearted, vulnerable vocals, and an album that not only has pop songs, but 3 tracks at the end that are classical compositions with orchestra. Once again, Ben Folds is true to form and not following any trend of popular music. His honesty, his songwriting capability, and his obvious talent make the album So There one of the best of 2015. Number 23 on my list is Sufjan Stevens with the album Carrion Lowell, a more intimate type of album that is very pared down and not as orchestral. A standout track from this album is Should Have Known Better. Overall, excellent release. Number 22 on the list is an artist named Gabby Hernandez with Spirit Reflection. This album could definitely fall into a world music indie type of focus. The absolute alchemic moment on this album is the track Lo Más Dulce, which es muy dulce. This track features an otherworldly theremin sound, cowbell, and amazing percussion padding underneath, with Gabby's soaring, beautiful vocals on top. This track sounds like a Brazilian carnival rave. Number 21 on my list is Maki with the album Key Changes, an instrumental album that is peppered with vocals here and there. A noteworthy track is Soulful Beat. This sounds like Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. For those of you who don't know who Maki is, he's a multi-instrumentalist, producer, and songwriter. Maki is a Canadian expat who's lived abroad in Europe and has recently relocated to LA. Maki has very famously collaborated with Jamie Liddell, Peaches, Feist, Chili Gonzalez, and Nick Acosta. Number 20 on my list is Tommy Guerrero's Perpetual. Tommy Guerrero is someone who's been in our popular consciousness for quite a long time now. He was part of the Bones Brigade and is a professional skateboarder who is now producing some of the best instrumental soundtrack albums that I've ever heard. His 2012 release, No Man's Land, has been completely rocking my world, and Perpetual is a great follow-up. One of the songs you should take a look at is Throwing Stones at the Moon. Tommy's sound and approach is very film noir in my opinion. Number 19 on my list is Gascoigne with the release Matador. Gascoigne is the lead guitarist, songwriter from Supergrass. If you know the back catalog of Supergrass albums and the caliber of songwriting, you'll know that you need to check out Gascoigne's Matador. A song in particular that's worth mentioning is Detroit. Number 18 on my list is Bobby Aloo with Bay Sessions. Aloo is of Polynesian descent and is a baritone ukulele player. His albums feature amazing vocal harmonies with a clear, crisp precision of voice, and even incredible instrumental tracks such as Mana. This is a baritone ukulele composition that you absolutely must check out. Highly recommended. Number 17 on the list is Colleen, the artist off of Thrill Jockey Records, with the release Master of None. Colleen is the French artist Cecil Schott. I don't know if I'm saying that right, I hope so. She plays viola da gamba and creates these incredible compositions using a loop pedal and singing over the top of it. This is one of my most significant discoveries of the year. It's something I think you'll absolutely love if you check out. Thrill Jockey was extremely wise to sign this artist because she is talented, and this is one of the most standout albums of the year, bar none. Go ahead and listen to the track This Hammer Breaks. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Colleen creates this rhythm track with her loop pedal and viola that would make any tabla player absolutely jealous. This song is tribal and also psychedelic, and it sounds like something that Sun Ra would have done. Number 16 on the list is Langhorne Slim with The Spirit Moves, his 2015 release. Actually, it's Langhorne Slim and The Law now. Langhorne's previous albums are just incredible pop, folk, country, bluegrass amalgamations with his personal style thrown in. He has an incredible, eerie, and interesting voice that I think you'll really like. And this guy is just a great songwriter and so soulful. Check out the track Changes off the 2015 release, The Spirit Moves. Number 15 on my list is Wilco with the 2015 release Star Wars. I have to admit, this album took a while to grow on me. With a combination of its creepy cat and flower still life that if you check out on YouTube, the cat winks at you. And the new style and edginess, kind of garage rock direction that the band is going in for this album. It's much more edgy and less melodic than anything they've produced before. But the more I listened to it, the more I could relate and really get into it. One of the tracks that really pulled me in was the second track, More, on the album. The first track, EKG, is the more edgy style of the album that without Tweedy's vocals, you really might think this is another band. Wilco has never disappointed me thus far, and this album definitely deserves high consideration and more listens to realize what they're actually going for. Number 14 is the Ping Pong Orchestra with the release Strings and Things. The Ping Pong Orchestra is Sean Lee's project. Sean Lee is a producer, musician, composer from Wichita, Kansas, who's now an expat living in London and recording at his amazing studio. Sean Lee has done his homework. This album features all of the most classic sounds and also classic sounding instruments that you could possibly dream of. Number 13 on the list, Of Montreal, Aureate Gloom. Standout track on the album, Last Rites at the Jane Hotel. Kevin Barnes is at it again with his meticulous power pop psychedelia that just knows no bounds. While this album switches musical themes like flipping through a newspaper, you cannot discredit the absolute creativity and amazing compositions of Kevin Barnes, and this deserves many listens because there's so much going on this album. Number 12 on my list is the band Dungeon with their new release, Alla Sak. Dungeon is a Swedish psychedelic rock band that just makes some of the most beautiful songs. All of the vocals on the album are in Swedish, but this doesn't matter. This album trumps most anything that is going on. They are definitely the premier psychedelic pop and rock band of our time. And this band is coming out of Sweden, people. Go check out the track Frank's Cactus off Alla Sak. I don't think you'll be disappointed. In addition to Alla Sak, this band has a very impressive back catalog of incredible psychedelic rock. Number 11 on the list is Built to Spill with Untethered Moon. Built to Spill is one of the most chronically underrated indie rock bands. Check out the track All Our Songs. This track starts out with this hard-hitting train beat and then features some of the most fantastic guitar work that I've ever heard. The tremolo guitar effect that Doug March is using and the guitar work on the song are just exemplary. Untethered Moon features Steve Gear on drums and Jason Albertini on bass. This new rhythm section injects some real raw energy into Built to Spill's new album, Untethered Moon. Okay everyone, we're into the top 10. This is getting serious. The number 10 position on the list is Kelly Stoltz with In Triangle Time. Check out the track Cross Mind Blues with his reverb-drenched psychedelic guitar line and incredible drum flourishes throughout. Number 9 on the list is Father John Misty with the album I Love You Honey Bear. Father John Misty has been high on many lists of critical acclaim for 2015, and rightfully so. Father John Misty even made it onto Aziz Ansari's show, Master of None. Father John Misty, aka Jay Tillman. Jay Tillman is and was the Fleet Foxes drummer and released a series of excellent solo albums under the name Jay Tillman that are a completely different style from what he's putting forth now. Jay Tillman explored more of a spiritual, sparse sonic landscape. As Father John Misty, he's a psychedelic pop troubadour with songs like Chateau Lobby No. 4 that paint a surrealistic musical landscape. Jay Tillman is really coming into his own as a songwriter and also as this pop star personality to boot. Number 8 on the list is Balan Sebastian with Girls in Peacetime Want to Dance. Why in the world does this album not show up on any top albums of 2015 lists is just beyond me. Stuart Murdoch is absolutely one of the most significant lyricists, songwriters, musical producers, and artists of our time. And Balan Sebastian is a band that you just cannot overlook. Check out the track Perfect Couples. This is almost a 9-minute track that starts out with a very tribal African style percussion and then morphs into this wonderful funky pop song. This is definitely a song that could bring in a dance party, but this is just one track of many that are absolute genius songs that explore so many different styles. Number 7 on my list is the band Jana Ting Gap out of New York with the new album Director. The song East to West on the album just explodes with this sonic intensity. This is an indie rock masterpiece with these urgent sounding drums and driving guitar, finger-picking melodies. The intensity and passion that suck you in immediately upon hearing them. The number 6 on my list is the band Moolah VL with Good is Good. Moolah VL are a band out of London that perform adaptations of Dagare traditional music from North Ghana. The focal point of this band is a female artist named Bex Birch who plays Giil, a traditional Ghanaian marimba. The band also has 2 drummers, a saxophone player, a vibe player, and a guitarist and bass synth. The album Good is Good is one of the most uplifting things I've heard this year. We're now into the top 5 for the best albums of 2015. Number 5 on my list is a collaboration between Am and Sean Lee with the 2015 release Outlines. This is a collaboration that takes place between LA and Great Britain. Sean Lee, an expat who we talked about previously, and Am an LA musician, songwriter, and vocalist. Sean Lee, of course, a multi-instrumentalist, producer, recorder, plays drums, guitar, bass, and every instrument you could possibly imagine. This is definitely the most overlooked album of the year. Check out the track Cold Tears. From Sean Lee's funky, incredible musical taste and instrumental artistry to Am's songwriting and vocal abilities, this is one incredible collaboration. Number 4 on the top 25 albums of 2015 is Sleater-Kinney's No Cities to Love. No Cities to Love gets my vote as the most rock and roll album of the year. I have to hand it to these 3 women. They have done an incredible job. The track in particular that I'm obsessed with, that gets my head bobbing and gets me moving, is Surface Envy. It is just so impressive that this far in the history of Sleater-Kinney that they put out something this incredible. The number 3 album of 2015 is DeMarco with Another One. 1 year after the release of Salad Days, the effortless, inspired aspect of his songwriting and the warm home-style sound of his recordings, which are written, produced, and recorded by DeMarco. Check out the title track Another One, or the song The Way You'd Love Her. From a do-it-yourself perspective, DeMarco shows us that less can definitely be more. The number 2 best album of 2015 is the Alabama Shakes with the album Sound and Color. Sound and Color puts forth some of Brittany Howard's most inspired and soulful music yet to date. The album shows the band really trying to stretch their roots with tracks such as Sound and Color, or the seamless indie soul track Don't Wanna Fight No More, which bubbles over with emotion and raw power. The number 1 album of 2015 is My Morning Jacket with The Waterfall. The Waterfall is a near perfect album from start to finish. This album has just about everything: beautiful melodies, soulful singing, relevant thematic material, and a wide variety of different song moods. From the otherworldly, brilliant song Tropics, Erase Traces, to the upbeat pop songs such as Compound Fracture and Big Decisions, to the sentimental tracks such as Only Memories Remain. Let's not forget the soul ballad Thin Line, and inspirational tracks such as Believe, Nobody Knows. This album also features Jim James's brilliant solo acoustic style as well, with Get the Point. Those publications which claim to be cutting edge, those reviewers who claim to know what's going on. The fact that The Waterfall has not received more critical acclaim is just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. In addition to my top 25 albums of 2015, I do have 4 honorable mentions. The reason these are honorable mentions is because they were EPs or singles, and I really couldn't add them to the full album list for top 25. But had these bands put out a full-length release in 2015, they would definitely have been on my list. That being said, we have some really excellent albums to look forward to for 2016. Number 3 honorable mention is the man Beck with his single release Dreams. Beck had me in anticipation throughout a lot of 2015, expecting to hear a full-length release. Dreams is an electro-pop dance party. Beck had mentioned in interviews that he was going for more of a garage rock type of sound, but what came out of it was this very poppy, bubbly dance party type of music. And yes, Morning Phase did deserve to get 2014 Album of the Year. Without a doubt, it was long overdue. Beck deserved it. Sea Change is really the moment that he should have received it, but was overlooked. Number 2 on my list of notable mentions is Ghost of a Saber-Toothed Tiger, Ghost Stories, which is the 2015 EP release by Sean Lennon and Charlotte Kemp Mule. Ghost of a Saber-Toothed Tiger is morphing and continuously expanding their sound. A track of note is India. Their sound is becoming very expansive, pop-oriented, psychedelic, and positively incredible. Another thing to be looking for in 2016 from Sean Lennon is his collaboration with Les Claypool, and if you haven't heard that, go check it out. And the number one honorable mention for my list is Xixa, X-I-X-A, with their release Shift and Shadow. Shift and Shadow, the single, is just an incredible song. Xixa morphed from the band Chicha Dust, which have a full-length live album out on Bandcamp that you should really check out. This is Jando for Conscious Ground Sound. That was my top 25 albums of the year. I hope you enjoyed this video. I also hope that you go and check some of this stuff out. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more upcoming reviews and releases. Like the video and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for continuing updates of what's to come.